At 17, I made my first $100,000, and by 20, I crossed the $1 million mark. Now, at 23, my business generates nearly $4 million every single year. But here's the truth. Most people waste years chasing business models that either burn them out or just never scale. And in 2025, the online business economy is bigger than ever. But without the right approach, you get stuck trading time for money, missing out on real opportunities to build sustainable and scalable income. So in this video, I'm going to break down the smartest and fastest way to reach $10,000 per month, sharing exactly what I learned from scaling from $0 to $4 million per year so you can avoid the traps and focus on what really works. In many ways, you're probably a lot like I was a few years ago, broke, directionless, and with no real plan to hit your goals. All I knew back then was that I didn't want to go to university and follow the same path that my brother and parents did. Now, I'm not going to give you some sob story like these online gurus. I wasn't living with cockroaches and I wasn't born in a war zone. That's just not who I am. My parents are both doctors. I was born in Scotland. I went to private school at one point, and honestly, I didn't hate school. I didn't drop out. I was academically smart and I enjoyed learning. The only truly hard thing in my life was I got cancer at the age of 16 years old. But like many of you watching, I didn't want my life path decided for me. I wanted that to be my choice. So I started testing different business models. I tried trading, dropshipping, freelancing, you name it. I even got so desperate that at one point I took a job working for ESL online. Through all of that, I learned something crucial. Everyone online talks about escaping the rat race, getting time, location, and financial freedom. What most people don't realize is that their new business is just a glorified job. Simply just a different tax code, but the same bullshit. Most entrepreneurs hit the 10K per month mark, maybe travel a little when they want, but what's the point of escaping a 9 to 5 if you're working a 9 to 9? Instead of having weekends off like you might with a job or university, you end up working 12 hours a day, 7 days per week. You break free from someone else's business only to be chained by your own. And on my journey of trying and succeeding in business, I've been through it all. So in this video, I'm going to help you choose that right path for you, while avoiding any traps that could turn you into a slave to your own business once again. So let's start off with a regular job. If you're watching this video, your chances are a regular job just isn't for you. You want to be your own boss. You don't want someone else telling you what to do. Sure, there are jobs that pay 6 figures a year, but most of them require years of schooling, have less opportunity to scale your income, and if you wanted that, you wouldn't be here on this video. So let's skip over the traditional job path and move on to a better path. And that is learning a high value skill. And it's one of the best ways and easiest ways to make your first 6 figures online. All it involves is picking up something like video editing, copywriting, social media marketing, anything that adds some sort of value. Some sort of service you can provide to business owners that will make them more than what they pay you. You can work remote from anywhere in the world with just a laptop and an internet connection. You don't need any money to actually start, so there's no barrier to entry, just your grit to make things work. The problem with earning through a high value skill is it's just another form of a job. It requires your time. You are the business, so you're capped by how many hours you have in a day to dedicate to it. Also, the market is way more competitive going into 2025 than say 5 or 10 years ago. You've got kids in India learning how to edit videos and undercutting people in the West by 90% of a cost. What you might charge someone $1,000 for, these guys will happily take $100 to $200. That means once you've used up your working hours, you can't charge higher prices. You're stuck. And to be honest, the worst part is the clients that you're going to service. Most of these services are going to be provided to people who are at $20,000 to $80,000 a month. Unfortunately, guys in that income bracket have egos and a lack of respect for those below them. So you've got a ceiling to your income. You depend on guys who don't respect you or your work, and they can drop you at any point, so your income becomes inconsistent. And in my opinion, it's just not the smartest way to hit $10,000 per month quickly. The more advanced and leveraged way to monetize a high value skill is by running your own agency. And a lot of these guys that did video editing, ran ads for local businesses, wrote emails for companies, well, they started an agency. Basically, they get a few clients on big retainers for say $2,000 to $5,000 per month, offer multiple services, and work on a more secure basis. Some of them have contracts or even charge in bulk for a couple of months. That way, there's more security and you can make more per client since you can employ others to do what you can't. Now, the only problem is that 99% of these agencies involve servicing broke people. Now, I don't just mean SMMAs that help plumbers or restaurants. I'm talking about these gurus online who make multi-six figures a year but still have a scarcity mindset. Most stay for a month or two and then leave. The ones that don't end up being a pain to work with long term because they're constantly on your ass. I mean, think about it. If you make $20,000 per month but pay $5,000 of that to an agency, that's a quarter of your monthly income gone. But by far the biggest drawback is the competition and saturation in the space. Iman Gadzhi, along with hundreds of other gurus, have flooded the market with a bunch of kids offering the exact same thing. With demand low and the supply of agencies at an all-time high, the prices agency can charge has to come down. And as with all models we've discussed so far, an agency in this fashion just isn't really scalable. I mean, you could in theory go hire people and build a team and onboard dozens of clients, but the chances are your entire day-to-day is spent slaving away for clients. So any free time that you do have will be spent managing employees at scale. That's why most agency owners typically quit running this business once they hit that $10,000 a month profit mark. The typical progression is a freelancer learns and practices a high value skill. Once they get good enough, they start an agency to actually make good money. Then as soon as they realize they're just a glorified slave to their clients, they quit and become a content creator. Now, a creator is actually a really smart model to adopt in 2025 because the creator economy is a massive and growing every single year. Making content is by far the greatest way on earth right now to make money because where attention flows, money goes. If you can build an audience, there's unlimited ways to monetize it effectively. I mean, look at Mr. Beast with Feastables and Lunchly, or Logan Paul and KSI with Prime, or even Kylie Jenner with all of her makeup brands. Even guys like Iman Gadzhi and Alex Hormozi. Iman sells millions of dollars in courses every single month, and Hormozi is funneling his entire audience into school to make himself billions. They all use content to make money, but in very different ways. Some people use it to scale their agency or their freelancing gig or to get coaching clients. But having a personal brand allows you to make more money, build more connections, and expand your network. I've started posting consistently now on YouTube in the last few months, and with just 3,000 subscribers, this channel has made me over $100,000 in cash from consulting and other services. The best part is, content doesn't require any money to start. You don't have a boss and it has no ceiling. I mean, even guys like Mr. Beast will never hit a ceiling, and he reaches billions of people with his content. But if you don't want to show your face, you're shy on camera, or you don't want to be a public figure, then that's obviously not for you. However, that doesn't mean you can't tap into the creator economy though. There is one more path, in my opinion, the best path you can take to make your first $10,000 a month online. And all of the creators I mentioned before work with one particular business that no one knows about. It operates in the shadows, behind the scenes, and away from the general public eye. And it's the same business that allowed me to make $100,000 as a 17-year-old in high school 6 years ago, and nearly $4 million this year at 23 years old. And it's the same business that has allowed Sevi to make $250,000 a year after quitting his job at age 23, and Shane to make $40,000 in a single month as an 18-year-old kid, and Mark, well, he messages me all the time about his wins and how he closes $70,000 worth of deals in just a single week. And this business is called an influencer marketing agency. We've already established that making money from the content economy is one of the best ways to hit $10,000 per month online. Now, I haven't always been a creator. I actually started as an influencer marketing agency owner. I partner with creators who had the attention but weren't making much money from it, and with brands that had the money but had no attention. And by connecting these two groups, creators with audiences and brands with budgets, I became the middleman. I brought them together and brokered deals where the brands funded a campaign and gave me 20 to 40% of the budget while the influencer took the rest. In return, influencers created content promoting the brand, driving views, sales, and awareness. This way, the brands that weren't creating content themselves could still leverage the attention of the influencers' audiences. And the influencers, they got paid handsomely from the brand's marketing budgets. And me, I earned thousands of dollars just for facilitating that connection. And with this model, you don't need an audience. You don't need to show your face, and you don't need to learn how to attract attention. All you need to do is find two groups of people to be the middleman or the middlewoman. That's how the people I showed you earlier made their first $10,000 per month online. They found influencers with audiences audiences who weren't fully monetized and help them land brand deals, taking a 20 to 30% cut. This isn't just another version of a job. You're not selling your time, you're selling a creator's content and attention, both of which can be reused and milked over and over again. If you take those ads you see on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, for example, many of them look like regular TikToks and Reels, right? And that's because they are. An IMA got a creator to make that content, upload it, and then retain the rights to use it as an ad later. So even months after the campaign, brands still benefit and they keep paying you because they're getting these results. And these brands have deep pockets. They aren't your average customers or gurus trying to pinch pennies. They're allocating millions of dollars every year for marketing and paying $10, $30, or even $50,000 per campaign. That's normal for them. And now imagine you're taking 30% of that $30,000 campaign. That's $9,000. And it's not hard to run 5 or even 10 of these every single month. And what's even better is that this is secure money too, because these deals are backed by contracts. Brands can't just walk away randomly like some gurus online might. And it's not like growth operating either, where you depend on a single creator. With an IMA, you're diversified. So if one creator gets cancelled like Diddy or Philly, your entire income doesn't collapse. I've been running this model for the past 6.5 years, and last month I made over $335,000 with over 35% profit margins. And I genuinely believe that being an IMA owner is the #1 path to making $10,000 a month in 2025. Most people start freelancing, they move into running an agency around that skill, and eventually they realize the next big thing is either become a creator or help creators. And for those who prefer not to show their face, starting an IMA is the perfect solution. And why am I so confident in this opportunity? Just search for it on YouTube. Barely anyone talks about it. Meanwhile, there are people in the space making hundreds of millions of dollars every year, working with your favorite influencers and facing almost no competition, whilst others are still stuck in saturated markets. And at the end of the day, humans are hardwired to crave connection. Many of us find that through parasocial relationships with creators, which is why we trust them and buy when they recommend something. It's the most effective way to sell, which is why brands are pouring more and more money into it. So if you're serious about hitting $10,000 per month and want to avoid the mistakes of that slow most people down, now is the time to start. So what I recommend that you do is you can click the free course somewhere on the screen and take that first step. Don't wait, because the opportunities in space aren't going to last forever, and eventually everyone else will catch on. So take action today, and I'll see you inside the free course.